welcome to Pharicode on Air. I'm Janet. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Pharicode, and I will be moderating this session today. And I'm very excited to introduce you to our presenter, Tiffany Royer. She is a ServiceNow developer and service delivery manager here at Pharicode. And we're going to share just a couple things about some information about Pharicode before we get started. If you don't know, Pharicode is a certified small business association, women-owned business, and we provide cutting-edge technology services, managed services, and staff augmentation services to federal, state, local government organizations. We are proud to have over 270 certifications, partnerships, specifically with ServiceNow and Microsoft and many other partners as well. But today we're going to be focusing around ServiceNow in this webinar session. We'll also be monitoring the Q&A, so definitely ask any questions in the Q&A that you have access to, and we'll save some time at the end of Tiffany's presentation, and she'll also be doing a demo. So I'm sure there'll be tons of questions or things to elaborate on. So you can put those in the Q&A, and we'll get to those and talk through them at the end of this webinar. And as another perk of attending today, we'll be giving away a $50 Visa gift card. So we're going to be announcing the winner at the end of today's sessions as well. So do stay on until then to see if you're the winner. Very exciting. So with all of that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Tiffany. So feel free to dive in, Tiffany. Thank you.
So I'm Tiffany Royer. I'm a ServiceNow developer and delivery manager. I've been working on the platform for about 2.5 years. And today we're going to talk about interactive analysis, how you can use it, how you can create new interactive filters, and we'll also touch upon some advanced reporting capabilities. Interactive analysis enables you to quickly explore your data using visualizations on the fly without needing to create a report on your own. You can launch interactive analysis from any list of records that you have access to. And you would just right-click the column header and select Launch Interactive Analysis. And then a new visual would show up showing different graphs of that data. And the columns on the list when you launch determine which fields are included within that analysis. You do need a plugin to use this feature, and it does require a licensed version of Performance Analytics. So this is an example of how interactive analysis looks when it's launched from a list of incident records. You have a bar chart, a heat map, and a list of records. And then you can manipulate that data by grouping, stacking, aggregating, or applying interactive filters that are displayed on the right. For aggregating, you can aggregate on count, which is default, but you can also select sum, average, or count distinct. Then on the right-hand side on the information panel, if you click the eye icon, you'll see the summarization of the current filters that are selected, and you can edit the source filter conditions. You can bookmark the interactive analysis as a favorite, and then you can also share the interactive analysis. So the source filter is the condition that's applied to the data when you launch interactive analysis. So whatever that filter was on that list of records is going to be that source filter. And then you can actually edit the source filter with a previously built filter, or just continue to filter as you'd like. And then applied filter is the summary of the filters that you have applied using those interactive filters, sorry. And the share is a little section where once you've filtered your data however you'd like, you can click in there, and then it would generate a new URL based on the parameters. And then you can copy that URL and share it with others so they can see interactive analysis exactly how you filtered it. And then if you click on the filter icon in the information panel, this is where you can see the interactive filters. You can hit the plus button to add existing interactive filters, or you can also hit the minus button that would be next to each interactive filter if you just wanted to remove it from your screen These aren't creating or deleting any interactive filters. It's just modifying your screen to show what you want. And then once you apply the interactive filters that you'd select, you just hit that apply filter at the bottom, and then your data would be filtered based on the criteria that you selected. There are a number of different interactive filter types that you can create. So you can create them based off of a choice field. So fields like state, priority, those types of fields. You can create them based off of reference fields. So those would be fields like assigned to or assignment group. The date field, you can filter based off of any date fields on the form. It will give you some options of different date ranges that you'd be able to filter on. Boolean is going to be filtered based on a true or false field, so like your active field. And then group, this allows you to actually display multiple interactive filters in a single widget on your dashboard. Empty and non-empty is similar to the Boolean. However, it's just filtering whether or not a value, a field contains a value or if it's empty. And then cascading filters allows you to filter based on multiple values in a hierarchy, such as location. You can drill down by a region and then select a country within that region, and then maybe a city and so forth. ServiceNow does offer some out-of-the-box interactive filters, but if you want to create any new ones, you're going to need a licensed version of Performance Analytics, and you do need the report admin role. And then UI control types. This is going to be how you present your filters. You can select radio buttons, checkboxes, or a choice drop-down of either a single input, or you can have a user select multiple inputs. And then this is an example of a choice list interactive filter. So you can see here we selected the choice list. The name is going to be the name that is actually displayed on the interactive filter. And then you also have a lookup name. So you can use this if you happen to have many interactive filters with the same name. You'll be able to use this lookup name to kind of distinguish them from one another when you're searching. UI control type is from that previous slide. So just how you're going to display that filter. Then you also have table. So in this case, we selected the incident table, and the field that we're going to be, the choice field we're going to be selecting on, which is going to be the state. And then you also have exclusion lists. So if you wanted to exclude a certain value from the choices that you're giving users to filter on, you can. And you can also set a default value to one of the choices. So whenever a user goes to that interactive filter, it'll automatically start filtering based on new, and then they can continue to filter however they'd like. So now that we've kind of have a little high overview of everything, we can go ahead and start a demo. In this demo, again, we're going to show you how you can use interactive analysis, and then we'll also create all the different interactive filter types. And then we'll also touch on some advanced reporting capabilities. So right now we're just in my personal developer instance, and we're going to go to some incident records. So right now I'm going to go to the open incident records. So right now you can see the filter is already active as true. If you wanted, you can continue to filter down the data as you'd like. And then you would right click the column header and select Launch Interactive Analysis. And then you'd be able to see the different graphs to represent that data. So right now I have it stacked by priority, grouped by priority, and stacked by category, but you can go ahead and change that however you want. So if you wanted to change the group by or stack by, you could go ahead and do that. And then you also still have the list of records. And then if you go to the information icon, you can see the original filter that we had was active as true for that source value. Right now, we don't have any applied interactive filters to it. If you wanted to come in here to edit the source, you can. So if you wanted to, you could make all of your filtering directly in here. But the nice thing about interactive filters is maybe you don't have a user that's super comfortable filtering based on this, if they have, too many options, some people don't like that. So the nice thing about interactive filters is it gives them a limited option that they can select from, that may be the only ones that they really care about. Especially also if it's things like dot walking. Some people don't really understand how you can dot walk to different reference fields. So if you wanted to filter based on maybe the manager of the assigned groups, this is how you would filter. So instead of having them do this, you could create an interactive filter that automatically kind of dot walks to that field, and they'd just be able to select lower values. You could also load pre-existing filters that you have created if you wanted. And so over here, right now, I just have 2 interactive filters on my right-hand side. If I wanted to add, I can see other existing ones that are available for this table. So I could go ahead and add more. And if I didn't want a particular one, I could just hit this minus button and remove the filter from my panel. And then you can go ahead and filter as you'd like. So maybe I just want to see the ones for that are assigned to service desk. So you could go ahead and apply that. And now your data is only showing the ones for service desk. And then this is a multiple input. So if you wanted to do maybe service desk and another group, so ACME, I can go ahead and filter that. So now it's going to be, it'll show all of the cases that are either service desk or ACME. We can go ahead and we see both types of records in there. And these filters are persistent, so if you come back here, you'll have these filters as well. And then once you're done filtering, you can click in here, and you just saw quickly it said generating a new URL. And so now the parameters that I have set, if I go ahead and copy this and send it to someone else, they would see exactly what I'm seeing. And so now that we've kind of touched upon interactive analysis, we can kind of go in and start creating all of the new interactive filter types. So you would go to the interactive filters table and select new. And because there are some out-of-box ones, I'm actually going to create them on the problem table, because right now we don't have any interactive filters for the problem table. Decides to load. So first, before I actually go in here, we can actually go in and take a look at a problem record to see some of the fields that we might want to filter on. So we can see some different fields. So category is a choice field. We have service, that's going to be a reference field, and you can tell by the magnifying icon. And then we have some other fields. So you have, so opened, that's a date field, so we would be able to filter on that. So now that we've kind of seen the different fields on the form, we can go ahead and create some. So let's do one for, say, impact. And for this, we can make this checkboxes. And we're going to select the problem table. And the field is going to be impact. And then if we wanted to exclude any values, we could. We would just bring up this. So these are the current choices for that field. So if we didn't want to show one, we could add it to the exclusion list. And then if we wanted to default to a value, we could. But right now we're just going to leave it as is. And then we can go ahead and hit submit. And we're going to create some more. So next we can do a reference field. Let's do service. We're going to select reference. And so the reference table is going to be the table that that field was pointing at. So actually I think it's business service. I don't think that's the field. Where is it? You know what, let me go to the problem table real quick and see what table that is. There we go. And then this is going to show all of the services within that table. You could filter it down to show a limited selection if you wanted, but we're just going to go ahead and have all the options available. And then now that we've selected our reference table, we need to point it to be able to filter off of the problem table. So in that related list, we're going to show the reference. In the reference table, we're going to filter on the problem table. And then the reference field is going to be service. And then you can actually link many of the reference interactive filters to many different tables. So as long as it's pointing, those tables have a reference field pointing to that reference table, you'd be able to add more here. Now we can go back and let's create a date field. So go ahead and select date. This was opened at, and we can allow this to just be a single input. And then you can see here on the side, this is the available date filters that you can select. So it's a kind of different date ranges. But for this one, since it's going to be opened at, theoretically you wouldn't have maybe one in the future. So you wouldn't have a date that's next year or anything like that. So you could just decide to select which ones that you want the user to be able to filter on. So maybe you know, the last 60 days, 7 days, 9 months, maybe today, yesterday, this week, and then you can just select whatever ones you think are would be best for the situation, and hit submit. Next, we can do a Boolean. We're going to use that as the active field. So we can problem. And then the field type is going to be active. And we can hit submit. And actually, if we come back to that opened at, I forgot to point it at the problem table. So we're going to go back into that and relate it to the problem table and to the opened at field. I think it's actually just opened. Then we can create another one for empty. So it's going to be another Boolean demo, but we're just checking whether or not a field has a value. So maybe we're checking for if the problem has a resolution code or not. We're going to select problem again. And for this, we can select the resolution code. And submit that. And then lastly, I'm going to create a cascading filter. So for this, we can filter based on managers and then groups that they happen to manage. So we can create a cascading. We hit save to stay on the record. And then you're going to come to the related list cascading filter. We're going to create our first filter. So first we're going to have them filter based on manager. And we're going to use the group table. And then the display field is going to be manager. And then if you wanted to, you could continue to filter it down to maybe only show specific managers if that was in your use case. And we're going to hit save. And then first on the target table, we're going to add in the problem table. And link it to the field that we're going to be looking for. So it's going to be the manager of the assignment group. So we're going to hit this plus to be able to get to the manager of that group. And we would select that so we can see assignment group manager. Hit submit. So that's our first filter. And then we can come in here and create a filter that would go underneath it. And then maybe we're going to look at the specific group that that person manages. So again, it's going to point to the sys user group table. And then the display field, we're going to be is going to be the name of the group. And then you can see the parent cascading filter is that manager filter that we had selected before. And then the reference field is going to be manager. Actually, should this be? Okay, yes. And then we're going to hit submit. And then that should all work out all right. But let's go ahead and test it all out. So we're going to go to list of records that for problem. We can hit launch interactive analysis. And then we can see all the different filters that we just created on the side. So first you have the resolution code. So if we wanted to see the records that have a resolution code in it, you can see now it's only showing the ones that have a resolution code. If we wanted to filter the opened at, maybe we just want to see in the last 9 months all the problems that have been created. We can scroll over to see some of the opened fields. So we can see that this one was created 2 months ago and so forth. So within that last 9 months. If we wanted to filter based on the service, we could. So let's see one that actually has a service. Oh, here we go. So this one, we can search for SAP human resource, hit apply, and we can see that single record pop up. And then if you wanted to, you can add a few different services because we did make this multi-select. I think IT services was another one. So now we see we have 3 records now because there's 3 records that meet both of those criteria. And then maybe we also wanted to see the ones that are level 3. So we can go ahead for our impact. We can just select, we only want to see level number 3, low. So now we only see those 2 records now because it's filtering based off of the service and the impact being low. And then if I wanted to add more filters, we could go ahead and continue to add the others. So let's clear out some of the other filters. And maybe I only wanted to see the ones that are active true. So now I can see all the ones that are active in this case. I'm not sure if I actually have the active field showing on here. Nope. And then lastly, let's show the cascading option. So first, we would select which manager we want to look at. So we could select maybe Able. And then in the group, it's only going to show the groups that Able is the manager of. So maybe if I wanted to see all of his groups right now, I could go ahead and do that. And I can see the 2 different groups that he was assigned to, or he's the manager of, that the problems are assigned to. And then maybe if I only wanted to see one of those, you could go ahead and select that. And now, why isn't that filtering? Not sure for that. We'd have to go back into the filter to see why it's not filtering correctly on that group. So we could go back and take a look at that interactive filter. Let's make sure we applied it correctly. Oh, you know what? I think I might know the problem. So right now it's still only filtering based on Able being the manager. And that's because I forgot to add this target table on the actual group filter. So we can go ahead and add that. Add problem. And then this is going to be assignment group. And then if we go back to that interactive analysis, we can see it should work properly now. And as you can see, I came back and that filter that I had previously had is still there for me because the filters persist before. And so we can go ahead and try to apply that now. Still not working. Let's go back. Assignment group problem. Assist user group. That should be fine. Let's go back to the manager one. Yeah, not sure why that isn't refiltering. Maybe try it one last time before we move on. We can come back to it. There we go. I think it just had to reload. But now we can see that it's only showing the problem solving now. And then as you can see, you can still group by and stack by however you'd wish. And we can see right now the applied filters is Able being the manager of the group and the assignment group is problem solving. Now that we've kind of touched upon the interactive analysis piece, we can go ahead and look at some advanced reporting capabilities. Since you all already created new interactive filters, maybe if you didn't want to use them in interactive analysis, you could add them to, say, a dashboard for other users to use as well. So we can go ahead and create a report. And I'm sure many of you have, created simple reports. Because my problem data is a little bit, there's not a lot of records, I'm going to try just doing the incident record, just so it has a little bit more records in different types of data. So for this, we're going to make a spline. We can trend by, let's say, the created. And we can look at it. Actually, let's just look at it for months. And we can go ahead and run that. So then you have just a simple spline chart showing the number of incidents created over the years. We can go ahead and save that. And let's create a dashboard real quick. And then we can add this report and some of the interactive filters to it. Go ahead and save and view dashboard. And then we can go ahead and add that report. And then we could actually also add in some of the interactive filters that we created. Oh, actually, sorry, since this is a problem, it would have to be some interactive filters for incident instead, because we're using the incident. So we can select try this one. There we go. And then we would also, now that we added, you can size it and place it however you'd like. And then we'd also need the graph to follow that interactive filter. And so if we wanted to filter based on a specific group, we could. So it didn't seem like there was any for that. So let's try, not sure what some of the other ones would be. Is there any for this? Well, it looks like there was only 3 created in 2020 for this assignment group. So you could see how it goes ahead and filters it down. So that's kind of a simple report, but you can actually, you know what, let's go back to that. So if you click into a data point on this report, you would just come up and it would bring you the list of records that data point was showing. So you had that 50 records that were created in 2018. But if you wanted to maybe not go directly to a list of records, maybe if you wanted to view that data in another form of a chart, you can actually set that up. So you'd go back into your report and you'd come in here and you'd add a drill down. So this is another report or graph that you can show another breakdown of that specific data. We can select maybe a bar graph and maybe group by assignment group. And we could run that. And so this is how that would look if we broke it down and we'd hit save drill down. And so as an example, for this record, so you'd see 50, then you could see how many of them were based on the assignment group. And then you can continue to add drill downs as well. So maybe if you wanted to then look at a list of records, and you could group it by priority, and you'd hit save drill down. And then we could go back into that main item once it refreshes. So then we could click a specific year and then maybe a specific assignment group. And then we could see in 2018, that assignment group had this many records and it's grouped by the different priorities. And then if we go back to that dashboard, we can go ahead and see how that looks from the dashboard. So again, kind of that same thing that you can continue to drill down directly in the dashboard to the different reports. And then again, because it's a list of records, you could even launch interactive analysis from there and come directly here and continue filtering however you'd like. And then you can see some of the options that you might need to apply and continue to apply. And then one last item we can show is maybe you want to show a few different trends within the same report. So you can actually add a second data set to your report from either another table or the same table. So maybe if you wanted to look at problems created versus incidents created, you can actually see that same, both data on the same graph. So for this, let's do closed incidents. And we're going to keep it another spline so it's consistent. And then the trend, we're going to trend on the closed date. And because this is closed incidents, we're going to want it to filter active is false. And let's just make sure there's a closed time on there as well. So that's how it would look. And we could hit save dataset. And now you can actually see both items. So you can see the number of incidents created versus how many have been closed over the years. And there are, so many other different capabilities that you can give your users to look at their data that, I could spend, hours talking about all the different capabilities. But, this is just a few of the items to give your users. I guess we can kind of go into the Q&A if there's any questions based on the demo.
Yeah, there was one that came in kind of regarding like what you were just saying about the users. So the question was, can you create interactive filters for specific people, or are they available to everyone once created?
They will be available to everyone. And so because they are available to everyone, a lot of people are going to be using it. So another thing to keep in mind is if you're going to change the different criteria on those interactive filters, you're going to want to be conscious enough that it's going to impact other users that you just may not know is using it.
Perfect, thank you. Great work, Tiffany. That was super informative. And like you mentioned, you could probably spend a few more hours talking through everything. Well, while we're waiting for maybe a couple more questions before we come to an end, maybe we can actually announce the winner of the giveaway for today's session. So I'm very excited to announce the winner is Michael Zane. So congratulations on winning the Visa gift card. We're going to email you your prize directly. So just look out for that email and our marketing team will reach out to you. But if you didn't win today and you joined us, don't be discouraged. We're actually doing a larger grand prize giveaway. So for every session that you attend with Pharicode for our on-air series and our sister company GlideFast Consulting, there's several other ServiceNow webinars happening with them that counts as an entry into our on-air grand prize. So we're giving away these like workout mirrors here. So definitely great for those of you who are spending a lot of time at home and still wanting getting a workout in. So we'll be selecting the winner of that at the end of our webinar series. It doesn't look like we got too many other questions in, Tiffany, but if anyone wants to reach out, we're going to be sending this recording via email as a follow-up early next week. So you can just respond to that email if you have some specific questions. We can put you in touch with Tiffany, but or reach out, I guess, to you on LinkedIn. I don't know, Tiffany, you have any preferences?
Yeah. And I mean, definitely, you can reach out to on my LinkedIn, or my email is just tiffany.royer@pharicode.com.
Perfect. Great. So thank you everyone for joining. You can get in contact with us online at our website via email or LinkedIn. And as you can see here, you can check out more of our sessions that are coming up at pharicode.com/Pharicode-on-air. Thank you again for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon.